I am starting creating a new mini album with our family travel pictures, and I decided to record the process to show you how it all came together. Maybe you will learn from me, maybe you will be inspired. And it's a challenge for me too, because I chose this album base. It's a Mintai album base. It's called Compass, and it's a round base. So I have created round albums in the past, but they were all made out of paper. And I have never used a chipboard cover like this, covered with like a false leather. This is the false leather. I will show you or not. Yeah. So this is the Craftelier Eco Leather, and the color is turquoise. So I have this one, and I chose it to match the Traveler collection from Mintai Papers. The turquoise is more vivid than the one with the one in the collection, sorry. But I wanted to add something more cheerful a little bit. I am not so much into vintage, but I love this collection. I love the vintage travel elements. Well, I love travel collections, so any travel collection, even in a vintage style, will be something that will kind of match with my soul. And this album. It's about, let me measure it. It's about 19 centimeters in diameter, or maybe about 20, and 7.5 inches in inches. And it has 6 pages plus this element. So you make 2 covers, and the first cover is this base and this one. Plus you will have extra pages, and I will not use a cardboard for the pages, only for the cover, so I will have few circles left. And okay, so as I mentioned, I have never ever used the round album base to cover it with a false leather, so I am not sure if it will work. You will see. I will see. It will be an experiment. So this is the side where you glue down, and I will show you how I do it, but I will speed it up because it will be probably about half an hour of me fighting against the album base. So I will put you on the fast forward, and you will be able to see me creating. So see you in a second.
We will start with making the front and back covers, and I am using my round chipboard base as a stencil, and I used a pencil to kind of circle around it to know how big of a base I need. And then I took my scissors and cut it out this shape plus 2 centimeters on each side around. As you can see, it doesn't have to be precise or perfect, because those are the parts you won't be able to see. You just need to know how big of a circle with something extra around to wrap around the cardboard you need. So it's just like a guideline. You don't have to make it a perfect circle. You just need to, you know, know how much of the false leather you need. So I'm just tracing it. I'm leaving the leftover eco leather for some further project. So I have 2 circles, and I will glue my chipboard in the middle of it, and I'm doing exactly the same with both circles. So I am creating 2 exactly the same elements, but I will show you on the video how I created one of them, so you can, you know, use the same knowledge to create the second cover. And I am applying glue on top of the cover, and I am doing it in a fine layer all over the cardboard. You can make like a, I would say, snake pattern, but you will be able to see from the other side. You have to cover your chipboard with glue in a thin, equal layers. So it's something you would have to like do with a tool like I have. This is the silicone spatula or a brush, whatever you like to use. I am using just a regular glue for the paper and crafty projects, and you can use whatever glue you have. It just have to be a glue that is not only for paper. So this like tacky glue, or I'm looking what kind of glue it is, but I do not have anything on the box, but you can use tacky glue, Anita's tacky glue, Arlene's tacky glue. So this glue will be also good. And what I did, I took my cover and I cut it around it, creating some sort of a sun rays. You can see it. They are cutted not up to the very edge of the chipboard. I left like 2-3 millimeters. You don't need to cut up to the chipboard because you will have holes then in the chipboard wrap around. You need to cut to, I would say, maybe 3 millimeters, up to 3 millimeters close to the chipboard. We need to cut out all those little triangles, because otherwise when you wrap around the round element like this one, you will have too much leather comparing to the surface. So it will create ugly folds. But when you cut out elements like this, you will have a nice kind of a smoother edge. So it's like, you have to do it when you are working with a round element. Maybe you don't have to create such a tiny little triangles. Maybe you can leave a little bit extra of leather. I like to be careful. So I like to work like this. It takes more time, but for me it's only 2 covers, so it's worth spending this extra time. And I am applying the same glue I applied on the chipboard, both on the edge of the round element and on all those rays of sunshine, let's call them like this. And I'm wrapping around the leather around the chipboard. And as you can see, it's wrapping really, really well because it has some sort of elasticity to it added, so you can turn it into the round shape. And after everything is glued down, I'm taking my bone folder and I'm pressing everything nicely to avoid any folds, any bulky edges, because you will be able to see it under the paper if it will be too bulky. So all of the covers are done, and one of them is messed up with glue. I wasn't careful enough, so please, please, please be careful with your glue. Have your hands clean. Apply glue on one of the surfaces, and then okay, I'm lacking words. Then move your cover to the clean area and then press it with the bone folder. So my 2 round elements are done, and now we need to create a spine of the album, the element on the back. And I could use this piece of blue false leather, but I like to add some extra color with this element, so I took another sheet of different color of false leather, and I'm just adding a rectangle. I have 5 by 8 centimeters spine I want to use in my album, and I need to add a little bit bigger rectangle. So I don't remember the exact measurements, but when you put your spine, you will have like a centimeter and a half on the top, centimeter and a half on the bottom, plus about 5 centimeters in each direction. So it has to be much, much bigger than the cardboard element you have. So we are gluing down the spine, and then we are gluing down the top and the bottom parts. So we are folding it around to create nice edge, so you will not see the cardboard. And this is what I was talking about. I was smarter with the second piece of cover, so I have this piece of paper for applying glue, and when I'm folding I just remove it and I'm folding on the clean surface. This way I didn't make this way my second piece of cover wasn't messed up with glue. So I'm just adding the folds on top and the bottom, and I'm pressing everything with bone folder. And with the false leather and glue you will have to wait a little while for the glue to catch. It's not as fast when it comes to gluing two paper sheets, so it's just to work it gently. And do not use sharp edges on the false leather because you will rip off this kind of leathery layer of it. So this is how the spine is looking right now, and here is the fold that goes on one side of the cover, and here is the fold that goes on the other side of the cover, and we will add it in between those two round elements this way. So I just need to kind of count where the middle of the cover is, and I was starting to applying glue, but then I wasn't sure if I will glue it down in the proper position, so I took a ruler and I found the middle element, middle part of the circle, and then I added lines on top and the bottom with, you know, how much it needs to be on the upper side of the line and how much it needs to be on the lower side of the line to keep it everything in the middle. And I did exactly the same with the second cover. So this is just two lines in between. I need to place this element. And as I already had glue on the cover, I needed to be more careful with sketching those lines. And as the cover is round, you will be able to see a little bit of spine. So just make sure that the cardboard element doesn't overlap with the round elements. With rectangular album, it's much simpler and faster. You don't have to create those rays of sunshine because you just fold the element. You don't have to create such intricate round element, so you can just work faster. And the same is with the spine. The spine matches the lines perfectly, so it's not visible on the upper part and lower part. You will see it later. I know I sound like crazy right now. You will be able to see when I close the album. So I'm just pressing everything with the bone folder, waiting for the glue to dry. And do not worry that you can see the spine in the middle. You will cover it with the piece of paper later, and it will all be hidden. So all this ugly part will be hidden. You will have nice outer cover covered with false leather, and nice inner cover covered with papers. I'm just waiting for the glue to dry, working on the creases, making sure everything folds, and this is how it looks on the outside. And then the problem appeared when I was closing the album. The glue wasn't sticking too well. So I decided I need to add some stitching to make sure that the cover will kind of keep all the pieces together. I was trying to use my sewing machine, but it's just too thick, so I needed to sew by hand. Yeah, so and it's me just making holes to stitch around each circle, and I just have this tool from We Are Memory Keepers for stitching, but I'm not using it for stitching. I'm just using it for making holes because it's very sharp and easy to punch through both leather and cardboard, which wouldn't be so easy with just this tool that only has a spike on it. So I'm just doing exactly the same on both covers, and I will be adding the simple stitch around each cover, and this way it will hold my yellow spine and blue cover well in one position. And here is where I'm picking the matching color, and I decided to use yellow color, like a mustardy yellow color around the stitching area because it will match the spine perfectly. And I'm dividing this thread into two pieces, so each thread for embroidery has 6 little strands, and you can divide it in the pieces like taking only 2 strands, but I did it with 3 strands, so you can adjust the thickness of the string you are going to use. And I'm just using a regular needle, and I will be going around the cover. It didn't take me that much time. I will of course only show you how I do it on one side of the cover because it's exactly the same. It's just the basic stitch. You put the thread from the back, you wrap it around to the next hole, and then when you are under the cover, you go back to the next hole, and then you turn around to the previous hole. I don't know how to describe it in a different way. It's really, really simple. It's a simple stitching. If you have never done it, just Google it. It's basically just putting your needle up and down, so you will be able to do it, I am sure. You don't have to if you have a better glue than me. If it will hold 2 pieces of leather together, you don't have to do it. I just didn't have the glue for the leather elements. I just need to purchase one, I think. So if I will have a better glue, I will not have to add stitching, but this stitching is not for decorative purposes, although it looks really nice. It's more for the keeping it all together purposes. So you don't have to do it if you have a better glue than I did. There is a few dedicated glues that I have seen in a crafty stores, but I had one, but it's already dry, so I need to do something like this. And as you can see, it folds nice and it holds nice, which is the most important part. And I added stitching on the front and back cover. And now I need to create an element that will hold all the pages together. So I'm taking a piece of cardstock. I'm using craft cardstock, and I measured it to be slightly smaller than my spine, which is 7.7 centimeters. And you, of course, will need to measure your own spine and to be sure that, you know, we have exactly the same measurements. And now I am creating this folded element that will be like a spine for the pages. And what I like to do to never kind of make a mistake, I am sketching how many pages I would like to add to my album. In this case, this will be 4 pages. So I created those four spikes, and each spike will be bended in the middle. So the pages will fold more nicely. They will not stand straight in the album. That's why I am dividing each spine into 2 1 centimeter pieces, and I mark the spots, those dots on this card, where I will be adding folds on my scoreboard. And after I pointed them, I counted how many folds I need to make 1 centimeter apart each. So I counted them. I knew how many I need. I counted how long the paper strip I need, and I would need 20 folds, and I will also need a little bit of paper on the right and a little bit of paper on the left. So I am adding a little bit of paper on both sides. Hence, I will need, I think, 29 centimeters, 28 centimeters. You will need to pause the screen when I am showing you this card. And each fold has 2 centimeters up. And now each fold we are folding this spike we are folding in the middle. So we have 4 spikes, 2 centimeters tall, and each spike is bended in the middle. So the page can open to the left and page can open to the right. This is how it looks, and now we can apply glue. So we will have 4 spikes, 2 centimeters each, and we need to first combine each spike together. So we are applying glue, the same glue we were using for other elements, in between the spines. So 2 centimeters on the left and 2 centimeters on the right, I need to combine together, leaving 1 centimeter. So we are covering with the glue 4 centimeters, leaving 1 centimeter clean. 4 centimeters, 1 centimeter clean, 4 centimeters, 1 centimeter clean, and we kind of apply this up to the very end. So we have 4 intervals, 4 centimeters of glue, 1 centimeter empty, 4 centimeters of glue, 1 centimeter empty, and we're just folding it in half, creating 2 centimeters high spikes like this, just pressing it with the bone folder, and you can see on the other side those 4 spikes, and each of them is folded in a half also. So this is how they look from above, and now we can work on the folding. So this fold will make the pages more movable, and we're just applying pressure to kind of bend them, and we will still have 2 centimeters, but they will move on the middle. So this is how the spine elements looks, and now we can apply the glue on the back of it, all over it. So all those elements we kept clean before. It was because we needed to make the folds with a clean tool. And now when they are already established, we can apply glue all over the back of the spine, and we are ready to glue it down. Just make sure you are placing those 4 spikes exactly where the chipboard element on the back of the cover is. If it's okay, if it's good on top and the bottom, you can press it with your bone folder, working all the creases, making sure it sticks really, really well. So take your time to glue everything down. Don't rush, don't act quickly. Take your time, make sure everything sticks nice, everything is positioned nice, and all the 4 peaks in your spine are in the middle, and page folds on the left and page folds on the left. Well, not page, the cover folds on the left and on the right. While the paper is still wet, work with this crease because this way paper will not crack. When the paper is wetted with glue, it has more stamina. So this is how the spine looks, and we have room for 4 pages. Of course, each page can be embellished with extra pages, with flaps, so it will hold many pictures, and I will show you in separate videos for each page how to make extra room for your photos. And now we have to work on closing the album, and I am using a piece of string. It's not the best solution, I just liked it. It's simple, the album is sort of vintagey, so I thought it will be a good idea. So you will need 2 brads and a piece of string, and I have this foam to make a hole in my cover. So I'm just measuring to make sure I am in the middle. So I'm poking a hole in the back cover. I'm poking the hole in the back cover, and I am adding the brad with the string pressed inside those 2 legs, so it will hold this way, and this is how it looks. The string is mounted on the one side, and now we need to make something that will kind of, you can tie the string around. So I'm adding the second brad on the other part of the cover, and I am kind of bending the legs on the back of it, but make sure it's not flat and pressed into the paper. Leave it with a little bit room between the head of the brad and the cover. So I'm just adding those two chipboards to kind of make this area space. It's hard to it's hard to explain it with words when your English isn't that perfect, but honestly, even in Polish, it would be hard. So this way you can wrap around the string because you have the room under the head of the brad. And our cover is almost ready. The final step is covering the sides of the cover. So we'll need to cover all those stitching, all those elements of blue leather. So I'm just walking through the papers from Traveler collection to find kind of a worthy spot to cut out two circles. And I'm using, this is the same size circle that I used for the covers, because this album base that I am using has 6 cardboard circles, and I don't like cardboard pages inside my album. I prefer making them of paper to make an album a little bit lighter. So I have those spare circles and I can use them for a stencil, and I am cutting around this circle that I sketched, but I am cutting 2 millimeters smaller on each side. So I have the line, but I'm not cutting exactly where the line is. I'm cutting 2 millimeters closer to the middle of the circle. So the circle I am cutting is 4 millimeters smaller in diameter than the circle I used as a stencil for this page. It's because if I would use the same shape, I would have to cover my cover inside all over from edge to edge, and I wanted this blue leather to kind of peek behind a little bit. You can of course use your die cutting machine if you have circles big enough. You can use a digital die cutting machine for the circles if you would like them to be perfect. I don't mind if they are not, like, perfect circle. You will not notice it, I promise you. If you hand cut it with scissors, you will not notice that it's not a perfect circle, unless you have a very shaky hand. So yeah, then you will, but usually you won't. And I'm just using exactly the same glue. I am applying a thin layer all around the paper base, and I'm gluing it in the cover. I used a piece of scene, so I need to make sure that it's, on the right direction, because it's a piece of a train. So I need to have it orientated in the right way. And as you can see, there is a little blue outline of my cover. This is exactly how I wanted it to be. I wanted the blue leather from behind to peek a little bit. This way, when you close the album, you won't see the edges of the backing paper. You will have this nice round leathery edge, and you will have everything covered, all those pieces of leather, all those stitching on the back. You just need to work a little bit with your paper to press it. Now I'm holding it with my hand, waiting for the glue to catch. And I'm doing exactly the same with the second side of the cover. I picked different pattern paper for it. And now everything is glued down, everything is ready to add pages to my album. So you will have to wait for the part 2 of this tutorial, where I will be back with several videos for each page of my album. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to never miss the new video, especially the next from the round album series. Thank you so much for staying with me, and see you soon. Bye!